So we're up to way number 20, which is B'miyat Sicha, okay, which actually means minimizing speech. But Rav Noach takes it in an interesting direction, calling it the art of the conversation. So, although the world has been transformed into a global village where everybody can communicate instantly with everybody else, studies show that the vast majority of Americans and probably people throughout the world are feeling more alone than ever and feeling a lack of ability to communicate in a real way with other people. Effectively, society has lost the art of conversation and replaced it with texts and tweets. So B'miyat Sicha, minimizing conversation, is really about reclaiming the art of conversation and using it as an effective tool to reach out and make genuine contact with others. So number one of this is building connections. So you're sitting on a plane waiting for takeoff. The plane is filling up. No one's taken the seat next to you yet. They announce that they're closing the door and you feel elated. My lucky day, an empty seat. So are we so fearful of having to deal with another human being that 2 hours of isolation feels like a reason to be elated? So instead of reading magazines or watching in-flight movies, try speaking to the person next to you and discover the fascinating world of another human being. Realize that just like you, that person is full of mystery, wonder, insight, and intrigue. So be curious. What's the person's story? What captivating experiences have they gone through in their life? What interesting wisdom may that person have to share? When you're genuinely interested, people will naturally open up and share with you freely. My own personal experience, on one trip, I met a woman who ran all of the border control for the UK. And it was a fascinating couple of hour conversation about her experiences and the things she was doing now in running an Israeli tech company. And on the same trip, I was fortunate to meet Dr. Deborah Lipstadt, who was made famous by the movie Denial, who basically fought the Holocaust deniers almost single-handedly and was at that point the then President Biden's envoy against anti-Semitism worldwide. And I spent 3.5 hours talking to her, and it was just an incredible conversation. And all of that was just being open to having a dialogue with someone as opposed to closing down and staying in my own universe. So number two of this is, what's your name? Harvey Mackay and Dale Carnegie, in their respective and best-selling books about how to relate to other people, say that there's no sweeter sound in the world to a person than the sound of their own name. So when you meet somebody, ask their name and be sure to use that name throughout your conversation with that person. If you tend to forget names, then repeat it a number of times verbally and in your head, or find a memory technique to conjure up a mental association with that person, right? For instance, if the person's name is George Brown, imagine George Washington in a big brown suit. The sillier the better, says Rav Noach. So number three of this is conversation and not argument. So in a conversation, the point is not to simply get your points across, not to look for every opportunity to interrupt or anxiously await the end of a sentence so you can jump in with your counterpoint or your opinion. If you hear something that you don't agree with, bite your tongue and let it play out and see where that conversation will go, because a sharp reply will likely shut the person down and, end the conversation. So demonstrate your interest with eye contact, with nods of the head, with, simple statements like, wow, interesting, or that must have been incredible, right? Simple things that keep the conversation going and keep the other person open to the discussion. Number four, this is to make your words count. Don't use conversation mindlessly just to fill up the airways with empty talk. Chatting away for no real purpose is a waste of energy and words. Make your words count, right? We believe that every person was allotted a certain amount of words from their at birth, that they can use throughout their lives. So make those words valuable. There's an old saying that's attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt. Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. So the words you choose really kind of show who you are as a person. So don't talk without a purpose. In any conversation, ask yourself, is there a point to this conversation? Is it leading somewhere? Am I learning something? Am I growing? Am I connecting with the other person? If not, then find a way to steer it in a positive direction. And if you can't steer it in a positive direction, then find a way to gracefully bow out of the conversation. Remember that we can use our words to create or destroy, to build others through praise and encouragement, or tear them down through sarcasm and criticism. So a couple of ideas for applied wisdom, actually 3 of them. 1, make your dinner table a no phone zone and focus on conversing with your family members. Number 2, in applied wisdom, is work on upgrading the level of conversation around your Shabbos table. Share it about Torah, prepare a thought-provoking question to generate meaningful discussion. And then number 3 is strike up a conversation with someone you don't know. Find an opportunity to meet Dr. Deborah Lipstadt or the head of the UK's border control, right? Find those opportunities, strike up a conversation. You never know where it'll lead.